Today we're going to do a quick overview of the GoPro Hero 5 Black. See you in a minute. Alright, we're back with the GoPro Hero 5 Black, as you can see. And I got a picture here I wanted to put up here. And that's the one we're talking about. It's a GoPro Hero 5 Black. A lot of people use these for sports and things like that, but I use this for some filmmaking. I did use the waterproof feature. Now, as you get it stock, it's about 30 feet. If you're like me, I won't even put it in the water without a case. So I'd recommend one of the cases that are available. You can get them for $10–15 all the way up to $50 according to how good a quality of case that you're wanting. If you're wanting 100 or 200 feet. I used it. If you look just a few videos back, you'll see COVID 2020, the movie I did, and there's a scene where she goes into the kitchen and pours some water right over the top of it, and I used it in that. Now, the important thing for filmmakers would be the flat color. Now, there's another screenshot I wanted to show you. Now, this is your first screen, and I will get into the screen color, but this is your first screen, and you can use something called Pro Tune. And right there, if you see it at the corner of your screen, lower corner, there is your color, and it says flat. You can choose flat or GoPro color. Now, the flat gives it a profile to allow you to color it during post, which you can match it up with most of your other footage from your higher definition, higher quality cameras. So it's a really important feature. Also, in the Pro Tune, you can do white balance. You got your ISO and shutter speeds. You got sharpness, which I always leave that on medium. I'd recommend that. Your audio, I don't use a lot of audio from cameras. I use external audio because you're going to get a lot better quality out of those. Of course, your Pro Tune, as I've showed you. Now, I'm going to go back to this main picture. Now, some of the important features of this thing, you got so many choices on your FPS, your frames per second. You can go from 24 frames, and certain resolutions you can go all the way up to 240 if I remember right. Now, if you're in 4K, I'm not the type of person to use 4K all that much, and I wanted to go over a few of the functions on this camera. There is, right here, kind of hard to see, I know. There's a little button here, there we go. A little button right there. Now it's a little mode button, and it'll switch it through video to picture to burst picture to time-lapse video, and you can change it right there. Now on the top, just normal shutter button, start your recording or take a picture. Pretty common things right there. Now on the side here, and again it's kind of hard to get there, push that and it actually slides back and you open it up. There is a, there we go, micro HDMI and a USB-C port inside that. USB-C obviously for charging the unit, connecting your computer, things like that. On the bottom here, again I'm fighting the light, and we have a little button here. Push that in and just slide it back away from the camera. It pops open. You can access your battery is in there. Again, I'm fighting the light, but you have a battery compartment, and in a place right underneath your battery is your micro SD card slot. So that's where that goes in. Now your screen will go black, and if the unit's still actually on, you just tap it and you get your screen back, and you can set your options up right there. Okay, and another feature, the video stabilization. Now it works okay on this camera and it worked perfect for my situation. I don't know that I'd rely on it if you had a lot of movement. I don't think it's actually great for some of the sporting events that it's used for, but for my situation, and most filmmakers, I think it'll work fine for some light movement and things. You can always add your stabilization in later. Good buy, these things. I think they're running a GoPro Hero 5 Black, probably running around $150, I believe right now, 160, somewhere in that range, according to what you get for a pack-in. Now, something I did want to show you that I found really important in order to use this in water is I got one of these little GoPro cases, and it's a waterproof case. It makes, I think this one runs 130 feet. I don't see myself using it for even nearly that, being a filmmaker. Now, if you're into some sort of water sports, or you're doing, you know, marine shots or something like that, diving or something like that with it, that would be something you'd have to worry about. For me as a filmmaker, the most I'm going to do is probably use it in a pool, if I even use it there. So now, another thing that I like about these is you can actually go to your screen, then if you swipe from left to right, you can actually review the pictures or photos that are on there, which is really nice, even on a small screen like this. You can use your phone to control this as well. I did want to touch base on this screen a little bit. You have your color profile, as I've mentioned. You have a flat, which enables you to do some color grading, which is really nice to match that up with footage from other cameras, which is what I used it for. You got your white balance. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on white balance if you don't know how to use that. I think the simplest way is just to use a white piece of paper in front of your screen, or, you know, there's certain tools that you can buy that are like a flat white color. That way you can get your white balance correct. Your ISO, in a way, has to do with brightness and things like that, as well as your shutter. Sharp, I always keep that at medium. Most people would. Some people like a sharp picture and they kind of go overboard with that, in my opinion. So it's best to just leave that on medium, you know, unless you have a special circumstance you're using it for. And of course your Pro Tune there. Okay, another thing I wanted to get into, I know the resolution is really low, seeing this, but mainly you can swipe from right to left and you'll come up with this little screen. Okay, there's the screen that I'm actually on, where you got the flat, the color balance. Now this is your main screen. If you swipe and you see the little line on the very left of that screen, you can swipe it over. You get all your options. Your field of view, I wanted to get into that a little bit. Field of view, it's on wide, as you can see. Okay, on your field of view you have super wide or super view, you have wide, medium, linear, and narrow. Narrow is kind of self-explanatory. Linear, I'm really unfamiliar with linear. I don't do anything with that. Medium is like a medium wide, and then a wide and a super wide. And for the most part, they're in an order of how wide they actually bring the screen, or how far out that they see. I have used the narrow on something I didn't want to capture anything outside of that, and I really hate to zoom video because you lose so much resolution, and I want resolution and dynamic range, you know, as much as I can get that. Now most of these screens you can just swipe, or you just choose. You'll just tap your option, like if you go into your field of view and you tap on wide, and it'll just go back to the main screen. Okay, a couple of things I wanted to touch base on this screen. As you can see, 82% battery life. I'd say these batteries are pretty similar to like a cell phone battery. If you have heavy duty usage, it's going to use it a lot quicker. You may get, you know, 45 minutes or an hour out of this thing, just according really. All the variables, or so many variables, you know, in this camera especially. These things have quite a few features. Your Wi-Fi, as you can see in the upper left corner there, you have your Wi-Fi, even a GPS. Your Wi-Fi, these cameras, the way I understand it, create their own Wi-Fi network. And if you do want to download wirelessly, you can tap into that wireless network. And I have heard it's a little slower. I haven't done it myself. In the description of this video, I'll leave the Wi-Fi link. So if you want to, you know, type that into your browser and use Wi-Fi to download your videos from your camera, you can actually do that. Now there's GPS, from the way I understand it, because I don't actually use the GPS as a filmmaker, but the way I understand it, it's used for probably more sports, keeping track of where something was recorded, or where you were at, or maybe even speed and things like that. The real question, and that's of any camera, you know, it has all these neat little bells and whistles. You can use your Wi-Fi and hook your phone to it, control it, see it. You can change settings, start, stop recording, voice control, all these really cool things. It even has features like white balance and some of the Pro Tune features in there that only more expensive cameras have. But the question really comes down to, how's the picture, and is it going to be as good as a higher quality camera? When I used it on flat color and I used it in the short film that I didn't have a problem mixing that with the other footage, which was really good. Is it as high quality? I think it's fine for an insert shot or something like I'm going to use it for. Now, you're not going to get a red. I wouldn't go grab one of these and think you're going to record a full Hollywood feature film with it. That's obviously not going to happen. But as far as using it for an insert, with the ability to be able to color grade, was amazing. It's definitely worth the price tag of under $200. And the versatility is just so big in the filming industry. I know I've watched some programs where they've used these in vehicles when somebody's driving, because there's just no room in a car, if you've ever done that. And they actually sat them up in the corner, aiming at either the driver or the passenger, or even both, where they had two of these. And the shots you can get out of it are amazing. I used it at the same exact time this was recording in the film COVID 2020, where she's pouring the glass of water. I was actually filming from the side at the same time, and to get both of those shots at once, if you had a good shot, to get that all at once was just amazing, because you could flip back and forth and really catch a lot of the action. and a lot of the scenes that you would have lost otherwise if you couldn't get this down in, you know, to a water picture. Obviously, I don't think I need to say you're not going to try and put some big monstrosity of a camera down in a picture or drill a hole under a table just to poke your lens up there to get it. Doesn't make any sense. So as far as versatility, these are almost a have to, in my opinion, if you want some really unique and simple shots. It makes so many of the impossible shots possible. If you're doing an underwater shot, you know, pool scenes, things like that we've seen in a lot of movies, this thing is the way to go. I would definitely recommend picking one of these up. You know, for under $200 for an investment, it's definitely worth it. Make sure you go out and get one right away. Alright, wanted to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel, and if you want one of those, I'll put some links down in the description. I'll go ahead and search through, try and make sure I find some that are still under the $200. There's a lot of people price gouging a lot of things right now, so I'll put some in the description. Make it easier for your search. Till next time, see ya.